we are going into the final round in the play-in tournament. Last night, we had the New Orleans Pelicans and the San Antonio Spurs. It was honestly a really good game. It wasn't, because they were up like 20 at one point, but the Spurs brought it back at the end like the Spurs playoff magic always does. We thought that, like, as someone sitting there, I was having nightmares of the good old days where the Spurs just would always come back. It didn't matter. Someone would start hitting shots. Like, they would just always hit shots. And they were. Vassell came off the bench for the Spurs and just was draining. And they brought it within 6 points with 3 minutes left. And then the big three from the Pelicans between CJ, Ingram, and Jonas, they just kind of balled out the last 3 minutes of the game and kind of just sealed the deal. It was weird because they went on like a run to make it to like a 10-point game or a 12-point game. And there was still about a minute and a half left. And Popovich just like never called their last time out. It was a little weird. He like kind of gave in. I think he was kind of mad at his team for playing so bad and that they like decided to play in the fourth quarter, because in his post-game interview, he was like, we only played one good quarter, and that was the last quarter. So maybe that was it, but at the end of the day, it was a pretty solid game. I thought the Pelicans were going to win that anyways. Javonte Murray had a really bad game, which I'm not surprised because I called it. I said Herbert Jones was going to lock him down. Herbert Jones is such an underrated player for the Pelicans. He is such a good defender, and not enough people talk about it. He had an awesome game. He doesn't ever score a ton of points, but he just holds that team together, man. Without him, they would be nothing. Atlanta and Charlotte. That's a different story. They won by 30. Atlanta won by 30. And, I mean, you'd think Trae Young was the reason they won. Trae Young is the furthest reason from why they won. Obviously, he had a big impact. He had like 11 assists, but their team just could not miss. Trae Young went like 8 for 24 from the field, and then I think he went 1 for 7 from 3. So, obviously not a good shooting night for him. The team, though, shot 52% and 50% from 3. So, everyone else on the team was just draining, and they played super well, and I kind of told you guys this. Whoever shot better in that game was going to win. LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier had very bad games for Charlotte, and they were really missing Gordon Hayward because that would have been like their consistent piece through the night, and they just didn't have that. So, unfortunate for Charlotte, they're going out. I called Atlanta to win. I knew it was going to be kind of a toss-up to a race to 130 is what I quoted, and Atlanta scored 132. So, that's what I told you. Whoever scored 130 first was going to win. It's like 132-100 or something. So, it was not a good game at all, but next series, Friday, is going to be interesting, guys. On the Western Conference, we have the Pelicans and the Clippers. And for a prediction for that one, guys, oh, man. I think the Pelicans actually match up really well against them because they can put Herbert Jones on Paul George, and I think that's actually a tougher matchup than it looks. Obviously, Paul George, when he's on, he can like go to unguardable mode, but I think Herbert Jones is going to keep him locked in. So the Clippers, they're a physical team. The Pelicans are going to have to stand up for themselves and play physical basketball and get it done. Kind of how they had to do it tonight. They kind of bullied around San Antonio, and I think that's how they're going to have to win tonight. I'm really hoping the Pelicans win because I'm a Suns fan, so I would much rather play the Pelicans than have Paul George go off for like 2 games and it ends up being a 6-game series instead of a 4-0 sweep or a 4-1 sweep. Pelicans, I do think, could steal a game from the Suns because they can drain, like just random nights that, like tonight, CJ went for like 34, 32. He had a really good game. So anything can happen. On the Eastern Conference, I think Atlanta and Cleveland. Cleveland's definitely the more consistent team, but as the year has gone on, I believe when they've played each other, Atlanta has actually won 3 out of 4 of the games, and Trae Young averages over 30 against them. So Trae just had a bad game. Trae typically doesn't have 2 bad games in a row, so we might see a 40-point Trae fest because they don't really have anyone to guard him there. Darius Garland isn't the greatest defender. He's not awful, but you know, when Trae starts pulling up from 30 feet, 33 feet, like, good luck. I mean, if he starts hitting those shots, which apparently he does against them, it's going to be a tough game to win. So, the rumor is Jared Allen is back, though. If he is back, I think I swing my vote to Cleveland. I really do. I think Jared Allen is that big of a factor because then they can play big. In Atlanta right now, they have Gallinari, but without John Collins, they're not a super athletic team. They have a bunch of shooters basically. So if they hit their shots, they can win. Like they did tonight. They shot 50% from 3. So you do that on any night, you're probably going to win. So I would probably say with Jared Allen, if he does play, I lean towards Cleveland because Atlanta typically has not been very good on the road this year. Like they're the worst road record in the play-in tournament. So I'm interested to see how that goes. But I do think Cleveland, Jared Allen's healthy. He plays his normal minutes. I think that big size is going to pull it through for them. And then a little bit more of a breakdown on the Pelicans and Clippers. I kind of got away for it for a second. I think my final pick on that one would be, I think the Pelicans are going to pull it out. I really do. I think the Clippers have just been inconsistent all year, and I think the Pelicans are going to pull it out. I think if they play how they play tonight, that extra physicalness to them is going to be good. And obviously they have CJ and some experience with that. And then Clippers, they went to the Western Conference Finals last year, so they have experience as well. But I just don't, if Paul George doesn't drop 40, I don't think they're winning. Like Paul George is going to have to go off. So I think the winners of this series are going to be the Pelicans and Cleveland. If Jared Allen plays. If Jared Allen doesn't play, I'm picking Atlanta. So that is going to be it, guys. Very excited for this. One more game on Friday. Make sure you guys don't miss it. I'll keep you guys updated here. Let me know down in the comments what your guys' predictions is, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.